morning. How are you? Salt Lake City, Utah.
Salt Lake City. Be honest, the lines are now muted. So welcome to the call, ladies and gentlemen. It's December 11th. What an incredible journey it's been in 2013. Zege International is setting industry records, being recognized, in ways that are really getting the attention of people that are looking at what is this Zege International all about. And one of the things that I wanted to share today, ladies and gentlemen, is talking a little bit about the 12 days of Zege and the huge giveaways that are going on with the culture we're creating with the app. And it's really good business sense what Zege has done. So welcome to the call. This is Paul Lovato. I'm currently calling out of Las Vegas, Nevada. And what I wanted to go ahead and share a little bit of, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that here we are wrapping up period 69. And it's been a wonderful period for most people that are engaged in their business. And as I had mentioned in a couple other calls, that December has always been very good to me for well over 10 years in this industry. And I think a lot of it just has to do with that mindset that, people are open, and people are in a mindset, to have conversations. If we know how to carry those conversations, we can just fill our funnel with lots of prospects if we're doing the right things. And so we want to talk a little bit about that today, and we'll get into that in just a moment. Before we do, I wanted to start out with, of course, we're wrapping up the Life Unlimited tour. We have the last 3 stops that are about to occur tomorrow out in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Friday out in Kansas City, Missouri, and then it's going to wrap up on Saturday in San Antonio, Texas, out in the Lone Star State. And what an opportunity to really take your business to another level, making some calls, not just yourself asking who do you know in those areas, but in every single conversation that you have with your prospects, having that on your whiteboard, if you will, in your office. I call it your war room, because what you do is you go to war against the elements of the world that really sometimes can drag us down. And so that's why General Patton used to call it his war room, because he was going to win that war, and of course we know he did. And so the point of the matter is that we want to be focused on those things that make the difference in the outcome. I truly believe when we develop a culture, and that's going to be one of the operative words for today, is what is the culture in your business? I remember the first time I had to answer that question to myself. It was actually pretty painful, because I realized that, the culture that I had set up by default was not something I was really proud of. And so by asking that question, though, we begin to have an awareness that there even is a culture, and yes, we are responsible for that culture. And so the culture that one of the cultures that I think is so healthy in a thriving business is that you've got out-of-town people that you're working with in out-of-town markets, and you're leveraging other people's money, you're leveraging other people's time, and you're leveraging a system that you don't even have to be there. And so, ladies and gentlemen, really having an opportunity to ask who do you know in those cities is such a key element to the fundamentals of this business, because the fundamentals are exactly that. They really do work. But oftentimes we go looking for that gold, not even a silver bullet. We look for a gold bullet, okay? And it really goes back to the fundamentals. So, great opportunity to take advantage of the finals, 3 stops of the Life Unlimited. It's been an incredible tour. I had the privilege to go ahead and be out at the Life Unlimited tour out in Las Vegas here, and see corporate in action. I tell you, with this company has really grown up. I mean, I've been here in January, going to be here for 5 years, and it's just amazing how this company has evolved in 5 years. And what I encourage you to do is to really get into that habit again, into that culture of in your conversations with people that are on your auto ships, because remember, you can always look in your back office and have an opportunity to see who's using the product. and hopefully you can call down, who Sally Sue out in, Las Vegas, Nevada, and hopefully you have that opportunity to speak with that person, become connected with your group. It's very, very important. And just ask them a simple question, what do you like the best about the product? Are you aware that we've got some new burn packages? We've got, some tour codes that you can use in your app. Do you even know about the app? So on and so forth. And the reality is that we really, really are in the education and update business. And so, which now takes me to the 12 days of Siege. Boy, that's been fun to watch. The fact of the matter is that it's an opportunity to really get into that being actively involved with that application, the Life Unlimited mobile app, and I love that app. Which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I use probably over 90% of the time in running my business now. I rarely get on the computer because everything is so readily available on this app. And the key thing that the 12 Days of Siege are trying to instill in us is the value, again, of having a culture of people using that app. I'm just looking right now at the information in our back office about the giveaway. Here we are, December 11th. It's an iPad Air with a Zija iPad case. And all you have to do to qualify is use the app. And what happens is the company is keeping track of how many times you use the app, how many times you post on a social wall, how many times your personal enrollees use the app. Okay? Again, it's that culture of people being engaged with the business. Every time you purchase something on the app, even just changing your ownership, whatever the case might be. Certainly, every time you enroll someone on the app, had the opportunity to do that, that I was able to go ahead and just actually make the enrollment right on the app because the gentleman that I had met en route to Santa Rosa, guess what? He was very interested. Within really 48 hours, it was done. And it was done because of the fact that you showed him the support. One of the key things that I do, ladies and gentlemen, the key tool that I used with this gentleman to actually get to the enrollment is my favorite tool when it comes to business. Okay, and it's a business introduction. Okay, so in other words, he wanted to make money. He wanted to know about this incredible company. And certainly every single time you talk about business, you always cover the products, right? But when we start with the products, there's not necessarily an interest in the business. So as I was talking with this gentleman, my favorite tool is the PowerPoint presentation that Siege International puts out. And all I did is just ask for his email and send him the link from Drink Life In, to that application, and he watched the PowerPoint presentation and basically said he was in, he was done, and then so I just went on the app and put it in, and he actually got free product because I was very fortunate that day that I had the codes for the actual event that occurred that day out in Washington D.C. And guess what? He was able to get free product. He received it. He received it yesterday, actually. Now that I think about it. And so the fact of the matter is that it all began with just sharing a little story, and of course using that app. So I just encourage you to get familiar with the app. I love the social part of it as well. You have an opportunity to also follow people that you're engaged with. Matter of fact, Mr. Bowles, my mentor and my sponsor, talking about the fact that you can have a following there, and you have an opportunity to be engaged with people that you choose to work with in the company, and that's a great opportunity to really have some social proof with the people that are again, you're bringing into the company with a culture that begin to see that support, that family. It really is true that people just want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. So that's just a little bit about the background we're going to start with. certainly encourage you to take advantage of all that's available to you. So what I wanted to do today for the training on the focus call, the Go Diamond focus call, really all about, walking away with one nugget. It's really not about, understanding everything that we're supposed to be doing. But as my pastor used to tell me, if you can get out the door with one nugget, and that one nugget can be something that you think about and you apply, then it was well worth your time sitting in that chair. And I think that's the same way with our focus calls. Sometimes we get wrapped up in the information, taking bunches of notes, when really all we need to do is find one nugget that we're going to take action on. And it really applies, to everything that we do here at Teacher, but certainly to the focus call as well. So with that in mind, I wanted to share a little bit about something that I hear a lot about, ladies and gentlemen, from the people that I have the privilege to work with, even some of the cross-line leaders that I work with around the country as we're working with some of these events, okay? Because I send people to these events, and I work with the upline leaders that are at those events, introducing my people. And that is the whole process of working in depth, okay? And working in depth really is the magic of this industry, and it's part of, one of the most powerful assets of network marketing, and that is your warm market, okay? And one of the things that's so interesting is that I have people, in fact, I just had a conversation last night where an individual saying, I've got somebody that really wants to do the business, but man, they don't want to call anybody because they don't know anybody. And of course, we just kind of laugh and we just kind of smile, in our mind and realize, oh yes, they do know somebody. They're just afraid to right now. And that is they want to get involved in the coal market, okay? And one of the things I want to offer, as I like to say, at no extra charge, the coal market, the wonderful, beautiful thing about the coal market is that the little secret about the coal market is that when we sponsor somebody from the coal market, whether it's cold calling, whether we've got incredible scripts that we use, we've got leads that we can purchase. I typically don't do that myself, but my point is that the secret to the coal market is that we work with that person in their warm market. Isn't that interesting how that works? See, the warm market is what makes this industry go. Okay? So with that in mind, I just wanted to go ahead and share with you a little bit about sponsoring. See, the warm market is really all about having an ability to attract the best people in your network. As Robert Kiyosaki says, the rich and the wealthy, I like to put in parentheses the success of your life, whatever you define that as. So the rich and the wealthy build networks. Everybody else goes to work. So how do we build a strong network with our warm market? I really believe that one of the key things that we need to do is learn how to sponsor up. And that's a little bit what I want to share today. Sponsoring up is really, it just makes so much sense because, it's interesting to see that when you get one of those individuals that has a massive amount of influence, we have a little saying in network marketing that goes, a little man's no and a big man's no, no difference whatsoever. They didn't get it. It wasn't right for them. The timing wasn't there. Quite all right. No problem whatsoever. But the difference between a big man's yes and a little man's yes, huge difference. And that's called influence. And that's what sponsoring is all about. Let me just go through that with you just a little bit. I was reviewing some of David Moses' Network Marketing University. If you haven't purchased that, ladies and gentlemen, that is worth getting your hands on. It's really essentially part of a PhD in network marketing. Extremely good fundamentals. And so what David Moses was talking about is in Network Marketing University, the whole process of, let's just assume that you're a 5, okay? For just conversation's sake, on a scale of 1 to 10, you're right in the middle at a 5. So when we start working in the business in our warm market, what happens is that we're most comfortable with that, what we know. That would be 5s. And what we typically do by human nature is we just gravitate to the fives all around us, and we want to share with them about, maybe the products, the great benefits, the great energy, maybe the extra money that we just started making, whatever the case might be. But we're working in that area, if you will, the level of somebody being a five. And, and what happens is that we begin comfortable with that, and we bring them into the company as a five. Okay, we're fives, and so what happens is that they begin to do the same thing, and then we even get a little bit more comfortable because, let's face it, one of the key things that's happening is that they're just doing what we showed them, right? And so what occurs is that maybe you didn't get your people on a three-way call to actually promote the value of support and gain their confidence that you do have support. So they do the same thing you do. And so they don't know any better, and they sponsor a five, and you know what, even a four. And so what occurs is eventually you build a culture, and there's that word again. You build a culture of sponsoring down. So you go from fives to fours to threes to twos to ones and even zeros. And I see that all the time where people are basically, prospecting the wrong locations with the wrong social network of people. And the fact of the matter is that we do that because it's convenient, okay? Now, what's a little bit uncomfortable is really putting ourselves in a position to sponsor up. And here's how we sponsor up, ladies and gentlemen. You ask the questions of the people you're coaching, of who are the most successful people you know, who's the most successful woman that you know, who's the most dynamic woman that you know of. Okay, I've got pictures right in my mind. I heard them on the call today. And ladies and gentlemen, the fact of the matter is that if you can jog your people's memory as you're working with them, you can begin to sponsor up. But here's the key element, and I love this, and that is we can't teach them, we can't give them what we don't have. Okay, in other words, as my pastor used to tell me years ago, you can't pour out of an empty cup. So why don't we go ahead and sponsor up ourselves, share that story, and here's what happens. People begin to see that. And that's what's happened in my business when I learned this years ago. And you know what? One of the key things is that it's a process of keeping engaged with that culture of sponsoring up. So now you're a five and you sponsor a six, and maybe you sponsor a seven, and they sponsor an eight. And here's the key thing: when they get to the top people in the social network, if you will, and nines and tens are being exposed. Here's the key element that people make a mistake in this whole process of sponsoring up: is you've got to engage your active upline, because see, very successful people are going to recognize whether you're equipped with the support to do this. Because here's the key element: the nines and the tens, the eights that we're trying to attract, they're very busy people. They're successful. And ladies and gentlemen, if you spend gobs of time, hours trying to convince them and talk to them, guess what? They are going to run. And see, that what I have found with successful people, the less time you spend with them on point with the tools, like, for example, that PowerPoint presentation, following up with them and asking them a simple question: what did you like best? Or what, as I like to put it these days, what flipped your switch? What was the most interesting to you? What happens is that in their mind, that 8 and that 9 and that 10, they begin to see, hey, maybe I can do this. This is very simple. It's not taking much of my time at all. And what I love about working with 8s and 9s and 10s is I'm working in that network. Mr. Goals and I talk about the fact that, you know what, we want to be working with those people during the workday, because guess what? Business people are accustomed, they're even, if you will, programmed to make business decisions during the day. And in other words, make your day full with those people in that level of the network, that with the activity that they're prepared to make a decision about a business. And that's why it's so important, ladies and gentlemen, to make a business approach. Now, the key thing about the business approach with the PowerPoint or the product approach, and what I use with the product approach, more than our wonderful replicated websites. I just send them to a portion of that, where I ask them to watch the video, so they have an overview about the product. It's not just about the company, excuse me. It's not just about product. And then I send them to the two sections on Moringa, and then I send them to the products, okay? And what I found is that works really well because it gives people an understanding of what CJ is all about. Most importantly, why Moringa is so important to their well-being, okay? And so the key thing is that the business approach is certainly one of the things that we want to be able to be good at. What I've learned over the years is that to sponsor up, you must be able to turn on that switch to know exactly who's the right person to engage in with the business approach, okay? And the best way to find out, ladies and gentlemen, and that is just to ask a few simple questions, okay? And the question I typically like to ask is that if I could show you a way to create an additional stream of income, would you want to know more about it? Or as I asked the gentleman that I was speaking with, in Rubeck in Santa Rosa, is that are you making all the money you can spend? He just laughed at me. He said, "No, of course not." Well, hey, listen, I can show you an additional stream of income if you're open to it. And that's how we got it done, okay? And so, ladies and gentlemen, the key element is that we must be able to use the tools of the business approach. In order to sponsor up, we have to be able to get people's attention that, you know what, this is truly a business of moving product through a distribution network. And as we're sponsoring up, it's really nothing more than the law of attraction. We've all heard about it for years now. The incredible success of the movie and the book, The Secret. The fact of the matter is that it's not a secret, is it? It's really well known. It's been well known for millennia. And it was an interesting ploy that they had to just get people's attention about, because everybody wanted to know about that secret. And see, the fact of the matter is that it's all about the law of attraction, which of course was the secret was all about. So with that, I just want to go ahead and also share that as you're sponsoring up, you're attracting high quality people, community leaders, teachers, coaches, people that have influence, okay? And what those people are going to do, this is a key aspect of working in depth, ladies and gentlemen, is that they are going to take you to the 8s and the 9s and the 10s. And I tell you what, there's nothing more painful to see somebody get to an 8, 9, or a 10 in their social network and they don't engage, they're active, engaged, plugged in upline. And I tell you what, that sometimes will blow people out because nobody wants to be looked foolish. But that's what's happening if we're trying to do it on our own, is that we really don't have the skill sets truly at that point when somebody's brand new. But most importantly, is that the 8s, the 9s, and 10s, they recognize it immediately. One of the key things that I like to do is immediately get them on the line with my plug-in upline and do the handoff, as I call it, okay? And so just remember, ladies and gentlemen, it really is such a joy to work in depth, have an opportunity to work with the best people in the community and change their life. And the reason many times we don't get there is we prejudge these people as we put them into our list of resources, as I call it. And the beautiful thing about these people that are there waiting for us is that somebody's going to sponsor them. I mean, ZJ International is a huge, massive movement, quite honestly, ladies and gentlemen. We are the talk of the town. And the fact of the matter is that if we don't sponsor those 8s and 9s and 10s, somebody else will. And those people that are ready to do so, a great example that I use many, many times is the whole process that occurred with launching Japan. We all know the incredible success that's occurred in Japan within ZJ International. All you have to do is look on get the different awards that have been given, the recognition in the back office and the newsletters, the ZJ Buzz, so on and so forth. You see that Japan is a major part of this company. Ladies and gentlemen, Japan happened because a person just asked, who do you know? And Japan was not on the radar screen with Zija International. What happened is that Japan occurred because they were sponsoring up, ladies and gentlemen. They were sponsoring up, and the right leader showed up within 5 or 6 generations of that person that said, who do you know in Japan? Okay? And so before you know it, now that whole culture right there of people in their business and their distribution network, they have close to 20% of the volume of this company today. And here we are in the process in 2014. Going to make a good push on making it to $400 million. So that simple question is, how would you like to have 20% of $400 million in your network? Of course, we all would, but it becomes so elusive if we don't stick to the fundamentals of sponsoring up, developing our war market, and allowing ourselves to take advantage of human nature, and that is relationship trust marketing here at Zija International. So it's been my privilege, my pleasure to share with you today, ladies and gentlemen. I also want to just go ahead and remind everybody we have our call tonight with our product formulator, Russ Bianchi. What an incredible call for you to go ahead and expose people to the social proof of what's going on with this product, and getting them some information about moringa, why our moringa is a little bit different, a whole lot different, and how it can be truly life-changing for people, certainly why I'm here today with you this morning. So with that in mind, I just wanted to go ahead and open up the call on the moderator line. If there's anybody that has any announcements that they want to share, any quick comments, I'm going to jump off the line, and hopefully on the December 11th, somebody on the call today is going to be able to claim that iPad Air with that Zija iPad case for the 12 days of Zija. So, get to using that application, take advantage of the generosity of this company. So, any quick comments? Okay,
Great call, every day. American Canyon, California. Thank you, Paul. Debbie Callahan, Las Vegas, thank you. Paul, I didn't hear that. Thank you, Paul. Thanks, Paul. Atlanta, Georgia.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and then coming from Chicago, Illinois. Thank you, Debbie. Georgia. St. Louis.
Atlanta, Georgia.